What is up, everybody? We are back for another great episode on the one and only The Sick Podcast, Steeler Crazy. I am Jay York Football. Alongside of me, as always, rubbing it in sunny South Florida, mic'd up Sports One. It's Steelers Bills week. We have a great guest. First and foremost, how are you doing? I know, don't tell me the temperature right now because it's snowing in Pittsburgh right now, and I'm sure it's probably snowing in Buffalo as well. We'll ask Matt. But how are you doing?
You should have said I'm in Pittsburgh. I'd look like a real badass in a t-shirt right now or something like, when the Steelers defensive linemen go out there
Yeah.
and with their shirts off. Remember James Harrison used to roll out with his
Yes.
shirt off in like negative 15-degree weather. I remember in
Mhm.
Cincinnati, those guys did that a few times. But yes, okay, we don't have to talk about the weather too much. But it's quite relevant, obviously, as the end of the season continues here. Buffalo and Pittsburgh, two teams that certainly are familiar with that bad weather.
Yeah, well, it's that time of the year. Like I said, December football is rolling around, so this is it right now. So before we get started, I want to shout out the great people over at DraftKings. Mike, why don't you tell our viewers how they can put some money in their pocket this NFL season, but you could bet on any sports with DraftKings.
Yeah, I mean, we said it before we jumped on. It's week 13 already.
Ooh.
I feel like the season literally just started. Every touchdown brings you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, which is just awesome, especially around the holidays. You get family together, you throw some parlays out there. I know that was happening with me this week, but it's an official sports betting part of the NFL. It's not just football. It's first touchdown fireworks, anytime touchdown rushes, and live bets that ride on every momentum shift at DraftKings. Every play is your next shot to win. But here is the important thing. If you're a new customer, you bet just $5, you get 300 in bonus bets instantly. A snap of a finger, you grab over 200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Jordan mentioned I'm in Florida, so I have Sunday Ticket. That's how I watch the Pittsburgh Steelers. But your season starts now, at even week 13. Download the app, use code SICKSPORTS. That's our code, SICKSPORTS. 300 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first bet of 5 or more. Plus over 200 off NFL Sunday Ticket. It's not too late to get in the game if you don't live in Pittsburgh. Easy way to watch the game from YouTube and YouTube TV in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, fees may apply in Illinois. 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer.
And as we said, we have a great guest to preview the Steelers-Bills game. Jimmy, you know what to do.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Steelers Crazy.
Harris Smith shields. Flacco Polamalu takes it home. Super Bowl 43. Pittsburgh might be bound for that thanks to number 43.
The sickest Pittsburgh Steelers podcast.
Sports entertainment like no other. It's gonna be sick.
This gentleman is the Bills beat reporter for Syracuse.com and much, much more. Let's go ahead and welcome him in, as you mentioned, a preview Steelers Bills. It's Matt Parrino. Matt, what is going on, man?
What's up, guys? How are you?
Good. Usually Jordan and I compete for best hair on the show, but we wore hats today.
Yeah.
Because we knew you were coming on and that you were going to take us in that department. So I want to start with that.
Well, I got a haircut tomorrow before I hit the road for Pittsburgh. Just got back from Disney World on Wednesday, so
nice.
We're looking a little shaggy right now. We gotta get the fade cleaned up a little bit, but appreciate you.
Yeah, of course. So, Orlando or California?
Orlando.
World, so Orlando. Okay,
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, well, hopefully you had some good weather and got some character autographs and whatnot. Sounds like a wonderful time, and it should be a wonderful time at Steelers Bills as well. You just came from practice? You just were watching the team?
Say that again. Sorry, you broke up.
Did you just come from practice?
Yes. I just got
Okay.
back to the facility.
Tell us a little bit about the what you're hearing and seeing from a health perspective? I know you guys are a bit decimated, especially on that offensive line.
Yeah, so Spencer Brown and Deion Dawkins are both going to be out for this game, which puts the Bills in a place that they haven't been really the last couple of years. I mean, the continuity in their offensive line has been unbelievable. 2 seasons ago, their starting 5 played all 17 games together. Last year, I think it was Spencer Brown who only missed 1 start. This will be the first time. I think Deion Dawkins has only missed. This will only be his 3rd start missed in 9 seasons. So this is going to be a matchup where you'd love to have your franchise tackles against TJ Watt and company, Alex Highsmith, Herbig. I mean, this is going to be a challenging matchup for Ryan Vandermark, a career swing tackle who has been all right at times, but he's also come in and had some performances where I think has Bills fans a little bit concerned about this one. And then what they do at the other tackle spot is anybody's guess. They have a rookie 6th-round pick in Chase Lunt, who has been on the active roster all season in the mix. Tylen Grable, a 6th-rounder from last season who started a game last year in place of Brown. He is just coming back from a concussion that ended his season back in August, and he's been on injured reserve all year. The outside the box idea is Alec Anderson, who is mostly an interior lineman, but he could play all 5 spots. That could be a place they go. He usually has served as the jumbo personnel extra lineman over the last season and a half, but the Bills haven't done that as much. And while they might lean back into that against the Pittsburgh Steelers this week, maybe they put Anderson at tackle and ask one of those other younger players to play the 6th role. So that situation is definitely worth monitoring from a Pittsburgh Steelers perspective. The other ones are Terrell Bernard, the middle linebacker, the captain. I think in most instances you see that development, you're like, oh, good. Well, Bernard's been bad this season. Like he's been battling ankle injuries, and now it's the elbow. When Shaq Thompson, the veteran who came over from Carolina, has been in the lineup for Bernard this season, the Bills' defense has been better, especially against the run. So I think that this is the rare instance where you have a seasoned starter going out of the lineup where you almost might get an uptick in production with Thompson going in. He's been the highest graded Bills linebacker according to Pro Football Focus this season. And just from the eye test, he's to me been the best linebacker. Matt Milano, a little bit up and down dealing with his own injury concerns. And then Curtis Samuel is the throw-in. He won't be available. It's flip a coin every week to see if he's going to be playing or not. The Bills went out and they got Brandon Cooks from the New Orleans Saints, who released him earlier this week. He could play a very big role in week 1. It's a veteran wide receiver. They're looking for help on the boundary. We can hit the Keon Coleman situation if you want to talk about that. But I expect Cooks to play, for them to do something with Gabe Davis, whether it be elevate him or sign him to the 53-man roster. He should be a part of this game as well. And the Bills have to look to try to get their passing game going 10 days removed from getting beat up pretty badly against the Houston Texans.
Yeah, if somebody is watching this and did not hear or read already, Alex Highsmith is in, Aaron Rodgers is in, and DK Metcalf are in, at least as of now, barring no setbacks, according to Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin today. So certainly interesting to see what will happen with somebody like Highsmith against a banged-up offensive line. Before I kick it to Jordan, I just want to talk about the word vibes, because right now in Steelers land, they're not all that high. Maybe a Ravens loss last night perked some people up a little bit. You guys are coming off a really tough loss against the Houston Texans that, maybe was unexpected to a large degree. I know the phrase must win gets tossed around a ton, probably loosely. Do you guys feel like in Buffalo, this is a must win?
I don't think vibes have ever been worse since Josh Allen's ascension in 2020. And that might sound hyperbolic, but I think there's a couple things at play within the fan base when it comes to that. Number one, you have the New England Patriots, who are riding a 9-game win streak and probably going to win the division, although I still think that that's not over, but we can talk about that at a separate time. And I think that there's anxiety about the idea of wasting another year of Josh Allen's prime. And so that piece of it is there. You have this defense that has been about as bad of a defense as you can imagine at times this season for under a defensive coordinator head coach in Sean McDermott. And I just think that from the way the roster has been built this offseason to what has transpired throughout the course of the season, you have fans asking the question, are the people that are kind of running or steering the boat, if you will, making the right decisions, whether it be like personnel brought in, the guys that have been put in place to call plays on both sides of the ball. I mean, Joe Brady has very much been under fire within the fan base for, the way Josh Allen got beat up last week, the inability to unlock the passing game, looking like a little bit too dependent on specific schemes, almost being a predictable offense. And then on the defensive side of the ball, you promote Bobby Babich 2 years ago, who's been on Sean McDermott's staff for years, and we're 3 or 4 games into the season, and Sean McDermott takes back play calling. Basically, he calls it like they're calling the defense in tandem. But let's be honest, he's holding the play sheet. He's a defensive coordinator. I'd almost suggest that if you're a defensive minded head coach and that's what you're comfortable doing, just call the defense, right? Like, you're going to have to make some of the big time decisions along in the game, but that all that is at play right now. And I think it has people very worried about maybe missing an opportunity. It's not just about like this season in the AFC East. Look at the AFC as a whole. This has never been a more winnable conference. You have the Baltimore Ravens and the Kansas City Chiefs, who are both outside of the playoffs right now, and the Cincinnati Bengals. Those were the 3 big time contenders that I put alongside the Buffalo Bills going into the season. And if the season ended today, none of them would be in the playoffs. So I think that there's just this level of panic, and patience is running thin with the operation here, because it's year after year, it's the same result. And now you're talking about not only not being able to win your division, but if things don't go well over the next 6 games, maybe the Bills don't make the playoffs. And you wonder if there could be serious changes coming for both of these teams. And I think that's what makes this game so interesting, because the arc that follows for the loser is going to be like, get your popcorn ready.
Yeah, for both teams, most definitely hit the nail on the head there. How can you explain the turnover issue that you guys are going through right now?
I think there's a couple things that go into that. Number one, guys aren't getting open. Josh Allen enough. Josh Allen, because of that, I think doesn't trust what he's seeing a lot of the time. I also think that, like, from a game planning perspective, like, think about like the height of Josh Allen's career, right? Like, it's probably under Brian Dable, maybe a little bit of early Dorsey. And this was a spread him out, get the ball to a bunch of different players, surgical passing, Stephon Diggs at his height. And now we're 2 years removed from that, and the Bills' identity for most of this season has been a run-first offense led by James Cook. And I think when you do that, when you shift your identity the way the Bills have, you still have to do that while maintaining what you did well before, what made you such a really good offense. And I say that all while admitting that this is still an offense that's averaging 28 points a game. I think a lot of teams would love to have the problems the Bills offense has had this season, and we're very close to it. So, figuring out a way to be a little bit more consistent is definitely something that's at play. The other problem too is, like, the Bills have now had 2 stretches of 2 or more games without their number 1 passing game weapon in Dalton Kincaid. The guy's in his 3rd season. He cannot stay healthy. Like, it doesn't matter what the Bills do. Like, he does not consistently either stay on the field or be effective on the field, because he's always banged up. And so there's a chance that he can get back this week. He's coming off a hamstring injury. I can't imagine if he plays, he'll be 100%. But because of what's going on with Joshua Palmer right now, who's the other kind of really important cog for them in the passing game in terms of being able to get open, get separation, he's been limited and probably going to be questionable to play in this game. So that to me has been one of the biggest problems for this passing game. As you take the first 5 games, Dalton Kincaid, and still remains to this point in the season, if you look at some of the advanced analytics, one of the best tight ends in the league from a separation perspective, from a beating man coverage, from quarterback rating when targeted. He is at the high end of the graph on everything that you look at. But if he's not out there, and you're having to kind of reimagine what this looks like without your number 1 weapon out there in an offense that really is predicated on moving the ball around, but
Yeah.
not really doing a good job of that. Like, that's another thing that Joe Brady's been heated up for a little bit, is like, you have this everybody eats mentality, but some games it's like there's 50 to 70% of these pass catchers that look like they're starving. So I think that's the big issue that's been at play. And I just don't think Josh Allen has been as sharp as he was a year ago. And that's cost them in a couple of spots. And he takes chances. And that's part of the Josh Allen experience. You want him to feel like he can go out there and be a playmaker. But when you're in a game against the Houston Texans who's starting Davis Mills and you're turning the ball over 3 times, that's not a recipe for winning a close game on the road against that team with that defense.
Before I throw it back over to Mike, talk about some of the keys for the Bills to win this game. From your perspective, obviously, you just told us, you've been at practice all week, coming straight from here to the podcast. So I'm sure you can kind of know, I think like you kind of nailed it on the head earlier. I mean, this is very similar. The Steelers are in, and the Bills are in the same predicament. I don't want to say that it's a must win for either team, but at this point, we're getting ready for December football. It's very important.
Yeah, and I think for me, the key starts on the defensive side of the ball. Even with the tackles out, like the Bills are going to, on 10 days rest, going to be able to figure out a way to get the ball in the hands of their playmakers, whether that be Josh Allen in the run game. I could see them looking to maybe do some design stuff in this game. He tends to have an uptick in his design runs as the season goes along and get into these got to win and got to have it situations. James Cook, to me, is the number one player to watch. But let's go to the defensive side of the ball. The Bills have been absolutely obliterated in the run game this year. And part of that is because they're an undersized unit that likes to play in a nickel defense. They play a high level or a high amount of dime defense as well. They're undersized in their defensive backfield. They're undersized at the linebacker spot. And for the most part, outside of a couple players, undersized on their defensive line. And this is, as you guys know, a Steelers team that likes to get out in heavy personnel packages. They run 12, they run 13, just about as much as anybody in the league. And those have been personnel packages that have absolutely destroyed the Bills this season in the run game. So I look at Jaylen Warren, Kenneth Gainwell as guys that, if you're able to get them off, it's going to make life so much easier on Aaron Rodgers, who you want getting the ball out of his hands quickly so he's not getting hit, but also being able to sustain drives and rely on that run game. You should have no problem doing that against this Bills defense that, is without a few important pieces, none more important than Ed Oliver, who probably won't be back until at the earliest the playoffs. And without him, you're looking at just a collection of guys, especially on the inside, that are going to be tasked with dealing with what should be a pretty good rushing attack, especially when Darnell Washington's on the field.
Well, I will ask you a couple questions about the receiver position then before we get your prediction, get you out of here. You brought up the name Keon Coleman. Down here, my wife being a Florida State Seminole, is a guy I watched a lot of in college. And, of course, I think you would be the first to admit he's been a major disappointment so far. What's going on there? Will he get back on the field anytime soon?
I mean, Sean McDermott was asked about it today, and his answer didn't really make you feel too warm and fuzzy about the idea. The thing is, though, the Bills might not have any alternative. They're, they bring in Brandon Cooks, who, even if he does play this week, I can't imagine they're going to have a huge package ready for him to go out there and play in. And he's a veteran guy, so never say never. And then you look at the rest of this room, and Gabe Davis has to either be elevated for the 3rd time this season off the practice squad or signed to the 53, which I think ends up happening anyway. The Bills have a couple other levers they can pull with some guys that are injured and maybe just move on from a defensive tackle. But Curtis Samuel won't play. Palmer is very much questionable, and that ankle issue is serious, and the weather's going to be bad, and it's going to be a physical game. Maybe you want to keep him down anyway. That's one of the things that I think Keon Coleman brings, is a physicality and a bigger-bodied guy that has been willing at times in the run game to be a really good physical player and should be able to win against some of these defensive backs against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the problem is they drafted him to be a boundary receiver, and the Bills sometimes can be really hard-headed with how they see a player at a certain position. And I think that they've gotten away from that a little bit this year. Like, they've played TJ Sanders, their 3-technique defensive tackle, at edge because they've just had to. And now you might have to be in a situation where you shake things up and maybe put Khalil Shakir, your slot receiver extraordinaire on the outside and allow Keon Coleman, a bigger, slower receiver, the ability to maybe use a couple of matchup advantages on the inside to get open and get the ball in his hands and get him going in this game. But that's all while saying that he's been unreliable off the field. 2 times this season, he's been benched for missing team meetings. And that's the kind of stuff that, Super Bowl contending teams have very little patience for that kind of stuff. And so I think Sean McDermott has tried to send a message. It feels like he's received the message. He's spent a lot of time with Josh Allen after practice the last couple of weeks. And I think maybe Allen has taken him under his wing a little bit and try to give him some, the tough love was the benching, and maybe Allen's trying to be supportive there for him. So this could be a big spot for him if he gets an opportunity to play this weekend. And with the way the injuries are mounting, you might have no other choice.
Yeah, somebody's got to get a hat, right? I mean, that makes sense. One random one here. You guys had MVS for about a half a season in 2024 and didn't really do much. I saw went to I think the Saints was traded or was cut from you guys. He's a Pittsburgh Steeler now, back with Aaron Rodgers. He might actually get a hat for the first time this Sunday. Is he cooked? Why couldn't he succeed whatsoever with Josh Allen?
He wasn't cooked in New Orleans when he was running down the field. And I think if you want to talk about a guy that could really boost him back into playmaking, it's Aaron Rodgers. They have a connection, so I wouldn't rule that out. It just didn't work. And honestly, the Bills have a recent track record of some swings and misses at some of these guys that they've brought in, some of the fringe players. It started with Emmanuel Sanders. They brought him in and he couldn't stay healthy. There were a few games where he had a really nice contribution. And over the last couple of years, they've thrown some darts. I mean, MVS, Chase Claypool, Elijah Moore, who they just released. They bring a lot of these guys in and can't find a way to get them involved, get their chemistry down with Josh Allen, whatever the case may be. For whatever reason, a guy like Gabe Davis built that from his rookie season. He goes to Jacksonville, he comes back, and immediately you just see the continuity there between the guys. So I would say MVS with Aaron Rodgers, he's going to try to get him the ball, I would imagine. So if he's up, there could be a little bit of, maybe MVS wanting to stick it to the Bills a little bit. So we'll see.
Yeah. Interesting. Jordan, you have anything?
No, I think we just got to get you out of here, get your prediction, and tell everyone, where they can find you and what you have coming up next. Really appreciate your time. We love, having the other guys on. At the end of the day, it's just a game, and we're lucky enough to be able to break it down. So really appreciate your time, Matt. But we need your prediction, and it could be Bills. It's all right. We won't hold it against you.
Yeah, it's okay. No, I am gonna go with the Bills for a couple of reasons. Number one, Sean McDermott, at the depths of or in the fire pits of, when his approval rating's been the lowest it's been, he finds a way to just win some of these games where fans are just completely counting the Bills out, like the tackle situation, what's going on with the defense, everything that we kind of talked about. And they've gotten extra time to prepare for this game, which I think puts them in a spot. He's undefeated lifetime coming off of the bye. I know it's a mini bye technically. But I think that the offense is going to come out with a couple of different things. And, the other part of this is I mentioned all of the angst inside Bills fandom. I mean, scrolling through the timelines, Pittsburgh Nation right now, they're pretty down on the Steelers as well. I saw it doesn't matter that the tackles are out because they'll find a way to still not get any pressure or get any sacks. It's a lot of commentary, negative commentary. And I get it too. Like Mike Tomlin has been there for a long time since that Super Bowl without a lot of like premium success in the playoffs. So you just get to a point where you just wonder if the message gets what's going on here in Buffalo right now. And he hasn't had the length of time of success that the Tomlin's had. So I'm going to go with the Bills in a close game. But again, I think they've only won once in Pittsburgh this century, and that was against Duck Hodges. So if you told me the Steelers are going to win this game, I'd believe you.
Matt, what you said is interesting because it sounds very familiar because every time the chips are stacked against Mike Tomlin, the same damn thing happens. The Steelers find a way when everybody hates them and things are going wrong, right? That's just what they do, is find a way to get to those 10 wins, 7 wins, and, decide to reel everybody back in just to break their hearts at the end. So something has to give in this game between the two coaches and teams that find a way to reel everybody back in. But man, it's been awesome. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hopefully when we see you guys, in the first round of the playoffs, that 4-5 seed matchup, we'll have you back on.
Sounds good, guys. Take care.
Appreciate it, man.
All right, Jordan. This is our weekend show before the big game on Sunday. So what are you thinking right now? Where's your thought process heading into this huge clash?
I'm just not very confident with the Steelers right now. I hate to do this because, I love my Steelers, but I'm going to have to go with Matt. I think it's going to be a close game, but I just think that this year's different. I think that this is when the wheels start to fall off. I think that, this might be the offseason where change comes. But like you said, I'm not going to count Tomlin out because it very well be. And I hope that they prove me wrong. I hope they go out and fire on all cylinders and, offense puts up 34 points and the defense holds the Bills to 10 points. But if I'm a betting man right now, use our code 6Sport, DraftKings. Yeah. Nice plug there. I would say that I'm going to go Bills 24, Steelers 20. I just think that, like you said, the Steelers are too much. They're a mediocre football team to me. I think that they show spurts of, being a good football team, but I don't see them more as around a 500 team. And I'm just not sold on anything right now until they can consistently do it. Consistency is everything. And I'm not asking them to go out every week, but to fall flat on their face like they've been lately, not much confidence. So I'm going with the Bills 24-20.
It's wild how spirits can be lifted a little bit when the team isn't even on the field. I feel like the Ravens losing gave everybody a bit of a jolt at the very least.
Yeah.
The season is not going to be won or lost if they lose to the Bills, because they're going to still have a shot at the Ravens twice, and at the very worst can be tied with them after this Sunday heading into Baltimore. But I'm with you. Heading into the season, I thought this is a game where you just take the pencil, the Sharpie, and write L, right? They're not going to beat the Bills.
Well, the Bills were a lot of people's Super Bowl pick, but Matt said it. Though you have the Bengals, the Ravens, the Chiefs. The AFC's wide open. Who's to say that the Steelers don't get hot? But who knows? Right now,
I think it's a coin toss game because of their injuries, the fact that they're on the road. The Steelers got their asses kicked the last few times they played in Buffalo. But I just think if there's one determining factor at the end of the day in a coin flip game, I'm going to take Josh Allen. He's the MVP, right? And just absolutely phenomenal when his back is up against the wall throughout at least the last few years. Outside of playing the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs, I guess. But outside of that, he's just fantastic. I do think he's going to be utilizing a lot of quarterback runs. James Cook is awesome as well. Derek Carman being out, I think, is a big factor for the Steelers. He's played really well. He's helped stabilize the run game. A terrible rush defense early portion of the year that's really done a lot better these past few weeks. So I think James Cook and Josh Allen on the ground will probably be the difference. But I'm honestly flipping a coin in this one. And I'm kind of right where you are. I was going to say 24-21 Bills. So we'll go with a 1 point difference there.
There you go. Yeah, just not a lot of confidence. And like I said, I want the Steelers to, prove us wrong. But if I was a bet man, I'd stay far, far away from this game, or maybe take the under or a couple, maybe a DK Metcalf anytime touchdown. So,
there you go.
But yeah, it's going to be good. We're going to keep rocking and rolling. I know we have Troy coming back on for December football. He's been playing lights out. Definitely probably a Pro Bowl year for him. Go back and watch some of our episodes. It's great. I'm very fortunate that we're able to have, such great guests on week in and week out. And thanks everyone, especially on the one word. I know last week we had a ton of people just going crazy on our socials. So, it's really cool to see that and engage with everyone, even if they're, bickering and bitching. At the end of the day, it's just a game, and we're lucky to be able to do this. And hopefully the Steelers can get it together. But until next time, we'll see you guys next week. Go Steelers. Hopefully they prove me and Mike wrong. J York Football, Mic'd Up Sports 1. Use our code 6sports over at DraftKings. Put some money in your pocket this NFL season. Jimmy, thanks for everything. Close the curtain.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Steelers Crazy on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.